Hi guys, today we make a small handbag. It is a very easy pattern. It is made with only single crochet stitches, so that is easy. If you like this tutorial, give me a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet and you like what you see, then hit the subscribe button. That makes me very happy. And if you have an idea for next tutorial or a question, let me know in the comments down below. The free written pattern can be found on my blog. The link is in the description box. For this pattern, you need a 4mm crochet hook and some jute twine. I used about 100 meters. You can buy it in the craft shop or online. Just look for jute twine and then you find different thicknesses. This one is a number 2 thickness. So let's begin. To start the pattern, you start with a slip knot on your hook and chain 42 stitches, or the amount of stitches you need to get a width of 27 centimeters. You can also make your bag wider, that is totally fine, or smaller, then just make more or less chains in the beginning. So we chain 27 to start our bag. And if you have the length you need, then you chain 1 extra. Turn your work, so you work in the back bumps only. The loop on your hook doesn't count as a stitch. The first stitch we skip, and in the next stitch you make a single crochet. And that is all there is to it. Single crochet all the way across. And when you are at the end of the row, chain 1, turn your work, and work single crochet stitches back. So you work rows of single crochet stitches back and forward until your work is about 15 centimeters or 5.5 inches. So if your work is that height, then I'll meet you back and show you how to move on. When you finished your first rows and your work is about 15 centimeters or 5.5 inches in height. For me, that is 23 rows. Then it's time to make the line for the divider in the middle. So pick up your work, chain 1, turn your work, and then you work in the back loops only. So you see here a front loop and a back loop. You pick up only the back loop. So in the first stitch, front loop, back loop, insert your hook in the back loop only, yarn over, pull up a loop, and finish like a single crochet, like a normal single crochet. Front loop, back loop, insert your hook in the back loop only, and single crochet. Front loop, back loop, insert in the back loop only, and make a single crochet. Back loop only, single crochet. Repeat this all the way to the end. Then chain 1, turn your work, and work normal single crochets back and forth again until your work is again 23 rows in height, or 14 centimeters or 5.5 inches. So work 1 row of single crochets in the back loop only, then chain 1, turn your work, and then work normal single crochets again like you did for the first part. Do this until this part is as big as the part on the other side. So you have a total of 46 rows. So keep working, making 1 row of back loop only single crochets, and then making normals until you have the same height as you made for the first part. And then I'll meet you back when both parts are the same length. So you have the same amount of rows on the left and on the right, and in the middle is the row where you made the single crochets in 1 loop. Then it is time to make the flap. So when you fold it in half, you see you have the base of your bag done. Now we make the flap at the front, and then we make the divider in the middle. So to make the flap on the front, I like to keep the bag simple because I like the way the jute looks, but you can make a different stitch for the flap. That is totally up to you. Just choose what you like. So to make the flap, you chain 1, turn your work, and then make a single crochet 2 together in the first 2 stitches. So insert your hook in the first stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, 2 loops on your hook, insert in the second stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop. Now you have 3 loops on your hook, then yarn over and pull through all 3 loops on your hook. So this is a first single crochet 2 together. Then we make 1 single crochet in every stitch across until you have 2 stitches left. So in every stitch a single crochet, just like you did for the rest of the bag. I have 2 stitches left, and in the last 2 stitches we make a single crochet 2 together as well. So insert in the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, 2 loops on your hook, leave those 2 loops on your hook and insert in the next stitch, so the last stitch of your row, yarn over, pull up a loop, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through all 3 loops on your hook to complete your stitch. So you now have a single crochet 2 together in the beginning and a single crochet 2 together in the end. To continue, you repeat this row. So chain 1, turn your work, and then single crochet 2 together in the first 2 stitches. So insert in the first, pull up a loop, insert in the second, pull up a loop, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops on your hook. And then work 1 single crochet in every stitch across until you have 2 stitches left, and make a single crochet 2 together in the last 2 stitches as well. Then chain 1, turn your work and work your way back. By making the single crochet 2 together in the beginning and in the end, you make decreases so you can form your flap. Keep doing this until you have 5 or 6 stitches left at the top. Maybe you want to make it a little bit wider at the end, then you can stop earlier. So just see what you prefer and how big you want your flap. I like a bit of an envelope flap, so I stop when I have about 5, 6 or 7 stitches left. So continue making the decreases at the beginning and at the end, and I'll meet you back when you have about 6 stitches left in the middle. Okay, my flap is done. Before we sew the side seams, we make a flap in between, in the middle, so you have a divider inside your bag. We have our row of single crochets in 1 loop only here, and you see here the unworked loops. We work in these loops. So grab your hook, find the first loop, insert your hook like this. Then we have a slip knot on your hook. Grab the slip knot, pull through, and then you attach your yarn. You can chain 1 to secure your yarn, and then we can start. And then insert in the next loop, yarn over, pull up a loop and make a single crochet. like this. Then insert in the next loop and make a single crochet. The next loop and single crochet. So repeat this all the way across until you picked up all the loops. When you are at the end and you made your last single crochet, then chain 1, turn your work and work single crochets all the way across back to the beginning again. Then chain 1, turn your work and work single crochets. So work single crochets back and forth until the middle part is as high as your bag itself. So work single crochets back and forth, picking up the loops for the first row and then just single crochet until you have the same amount of rows as you have on one side of the bag. And then I'll meet you back and I'll show you how to put your bag together. Okay, when you're done making your flap and you made your divider in the middle, I made the beginning in another color. Just for fun, you can make it all in the same color or you can make it all in another color. You can choose. That is totally up to you. Now we assemble the bag. You have a couple of ways. So here I sewed the side of the divider to the bag, so it is already attached, and then I close the side, or you can choose to close it all at once, all at once. So tuck it in between like a sandwich and then close the sides. When you want to close it like this, then you can make slip stitches on the outside or just use a stitch you like. If you want to do it like this, like I do, then follow me. Fold your bag open like this and place your divider on top of your bag, on top of the back of your bag. I attached it together with a stitch marker so I know where to end, and then attach a piece of yarn at the bottom like this, and then you get a tapestry needle and thread your yarn. And now you can turn your work and then you pick up a stitch on this side, pull tight, and then pick up some on the opposite side and pull. So through this side, pull through this side from inside to the outside and pull tight. Pick up a loop on this side, just eyeball where you can pick up your loops, pull tight. On this side, pull tight. The opposite side and pull. So work your way all the way to the top, then bind off and weave in your ends, and then I'll show you how to close the bag. Okay, if you closed the sides of the flap, you have a pocket at the back, and now it is time to close the rest of the bag. Make sure your line here is straight at the bottom and it is straight at the top, so it lines up with your flap, and your inner piece in your divider doesn't stick out, because that is not nice. Okay, and then you can put in a stitch marker halfway to keep your work in place. That's optional, but I always like to do that so it doesn't move. Okay, now you can use, oh, I need to weave that in. You can choose to use the ends if they are long enough from both sides, or you can reattach your yarn. Okay, so thread your tapestry needle, and now we do the same thing. So we come from inside out, picking up the stitch on this side, inside out, and then go to the other side and pick up a stitch on that side. Eyeball where you place your stitches and go from top to bottom. You can also start at the bottom and work your way up. That is totally fine. Just pick what you prefer. So pick up a stitch on this side, a loop, and inside out pull through. Pull up a loop on the other side and pull through. And then your seam should look like this. So work your way across. When you are at the other side, then cut your yarn by enough, weaving your ends. And before we close the other side, I meet you back to show you how to attach the closing. So it is easier to attach it. So close one side, and if this side is done, then I'll meet you back to show you how to attach the closing. Okay, when you closed one side, then it's time to attach the magnetic push button, or the push button. You can choose to use a magnetic closure. I use a push button, but you can use any type of closure you like. I marked where, when I close my flap, where my flap ends and where the middle is. So about here I should attach my push button. So pick a needle that fits through the holes, and then try to get it through. You can also use another kind of yarn, but I think it's nice to use the same kind that I used to make the bag. So then you see it is easy to keep the side open, so you can slide your hand in, place it on the right spot, go to the back, and pull through from the back to the front, like this, and try to leave a little bit of the tail out so you can make a knot in the end. And then go to the next hole, pull through, and pull through on the other side, like this. Then go from back to front, find the other hole, and pull through. Then go to the next, front to back, find the next, and front to back to the last hole. and then it looks like this. As I said, you can use other yarn to attach your button, but I think using the same yarn is nice. So you can take out your stitch markers if you use them to mark the right spot, and then on the back you can take out your needle and knot both and make a double knot. Oops. Sometimes you pull and it breaks. So when you make a double knot, it is secure, and then you can weave in your ends. Now this side is attached. You can attach the other side. So see how you where to close, like this, and then you see about here you need to attach this one. Before you do this, you can do this in the same way as you did for this one, only now you make sure that your knot is on the inside, so not on the outside. So make sure you start from this side to the other side, so you have an end hanging out on this side, on the inside, and then when you're done, your other end is hanging out on this side as well. Then you can make a knot on the inside of your bag and then weave them in. Close this side as well, and then your bag is almost done. When your push button is attached and you closed your sides and you weaved in all your ends, then I'll meet you back to show you how to finish the flap, and then your bag is all done. I attached both of the push buttons, so it closes and opens, and I close my other side, so I have a complete bag. Now you can choose to make a strap for this bag. You can leave it like this and use it as a clutch, or use a handle from a bag you already own, and then you can just clip it in like this on both sides, and then you have your bag complete. And we can make the flap a little bit neater by making a single crochets around, and then the bag is completely finished. So turn the back of the bag and the flap, so this is the inside and this is the outside. Turn the outside towards you and find the corner and pick up 2 loops here. Like this. Then grab your yarn, make a slip knot, grab it with your hook, pull tight, pull through, and chain 1. You now secured your yarn, and now we can make single crochets all the way around the flap. So insert in the same place as where you reattach your yarn and make a single crochet. Then go to the next, and here I follow my rows, and here I just eyeball it that it not tends to ripple or it is too loose. So you have to eyeball your stitches, that you make the right amount of stitches to have a nice and flat finish. So try to pick up 2 loops on your hook every time you make a stitch. That gives a nicer finish. And sometimes it is a bit hard to get 2 loops on your hook. See, so 2 loops on your hook and finish a single crochet. Repeat this all the way around in both corners, here and here. So at the top of your bag you make 2 single crochet here and 2 single crochet here. So in the top stitches I have 5 stitches left on top. Maybe you have less or more, but in both corner stitches, so the stitches you see on top, both at the corners, you make 2 stitches in those to make a nice rounded corner. If you don't want to do this, leave it out. It is just an option. If you don't want to leave it out, it is good as it is, the way it is now. But I thought it was nice to make a nice edge at the side. When you are at this corner again, then cut your yarn, bind off, weave in your end, and then your bag is all done. So this is it. I hope you liked this tutorial. If it is the case, I appreciate if you give me a thumbs up. And if you want to see more of my videos and you aren't subscribed yet, subscribe to my videos. Click on the bell button to get a notification every time I upload a new video. If you have a question or request for next tutorial, let me know in the comments down below. If you want to show a pattern you made, I would love to see it. You can email it to me or you can show me on Instagram. Hope to see you next time, and thanks.